Failure has a reputation. It wears a dark cloak. It carries weight. People fear it, avoid it, whisper about it as if it's the end of something precious. But failure is not final. Failure is not the full stop at the end of your story. It's a comma, a pause, a redirect. It's the part of your journey that makes the triumph meaningful. Too many people walk away from their dreams, not because they didn't have the talent, not because they didn't have the opportunity, but because failure whispered lies to them. It told them they weren't enough, that the setback they experienced was a sign that they weren't cut out for it, that the rejection meant they should retreat. But failure lies. It doesn't speak truth. It speaks fear. And fear never builds empires, creates legacies, or lifts a life into greatness. When a child learns to walk, they fall. Not once, not twice. Sometimes dozens of times. But never does a parent say, walking's not for you. The child falls, and we cheer for them to rise. And eventually, they do. We understand then that falling is a part of learning. But somewhere along the way, we forget that. We start attaching shame to failure. Embarrassment. We see it as proof of our inadequacy rather than proof of our effort. But the truth is, the only people who never fail are the ones who never try. Those who sit on the sidelines of their own lives. Those who keep their dreams safely locked away in the vault of someday. Protected from failure, but also cut off from growth. Because failure, as painful and uncomfortable as it is, teaches us things success never will. Failure reveals the cracks in our character and gives us the chance to fill them with something stronger. It humbles us in ways that success never could, grounding us and making us reach deeper. It strips away the ego and exposes the core of what we truly want. Are you willing to fail again and again and again? That answer determines how bad you really want it. Many of the world's greatest stories were built on failure. People who were laughed at, dismissed, overlooked. People who were told they weren't ready, weren't qualified, weren't the right fit. And yet they kept going because they knew something others didn't, that the fall was part of the climb, that the stumble was part of the sprint. That failure was not the enemy. It was the tuition they had to pay for greatness. When you face failure, and you will, it won't come gently. It will knock the wind out of you. It will bruise your ego. It will whisper that you're wasting your time. But understand this, that moment of failure is not your definition. It is your invitation. It's life saying, do you want it badly enough to try again? There is no breakthrough without breakdown. There is no innovation without trial and error. There is no courage without the threat of defeat. Those who win are not those who never failed. They are the ones who never accepted failure as the final word. They are the ones who used failure as fuel, as instruction, as raw material to shape a better version of themselves. If you're walking through a season of failure right now, know this. It is not evidence that you're finished. It's proof that you're in the arena, that you're showing up, that you dared to want something more. And when you dare, you risk. But without risk, there is no reward. The bruises will heal. The scars will fade. But what you gain from rising after a fall is something no one can take from you. You can either let failure close the chapter, or you can let it become the tension in your story that makes your comeback undeniable. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's forged in difficulty, shaped by adversity, and tested in the quiet moments when no one is watching. The people you admire, the ones who defy the odds and rise again and again, are not made of something different. What sets them apart is their resilience. It's not talent alone, not intelligence alone, not luck. It's the ability to bend without breaking, to keep showing up even after being knocked down, rejected, forgotten, or overlooked. The world doesn't reward the person who starts the fastest. It rewards the one who refuses to stop. The one who takes the punch and still moves forward. The one who's told no and still believes yes is possible. Resilience is the difference between those who dream and those who do. It's the silent muscle behind every win, every comeback, every second chance that led to something greater. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It doesn't mean you don't have moments of doubt, fear, or exhaustion. It means you move through those moments without letting them define you. It means standing in the fire without becoming the ashes. And more often than not, it's built in solitude, not on the stage, not under the spotlight, but behind closed doors. When you choose to keep going without applause, without approval, and without proof that it's working yet. Winners are not the ones who've had it easy. They are the ones who've fallen apart and put themselves back together piece by piece. They've failed publicly, been embarrassed, told they weren't enough, and still decided to rise. They've faced doubt both from others and within themselves. But their resilience spoke louder than the doubt. It kept them grounded in vision, rooted in purpose, and determined to keep pushing no matter the weight of the world on their shoulders. Resilience builds character in a way that comfort never can. It develops patience when progress feels invisible. It builds focus when distractions scream for attention. It carves out strength in places you didn't even know existed. When life tests you, and it will, it doesn't ask how skilled you are. It asks how committed you are. It asks how deeply you're willing to dig when the surface won't give you anything. It asks whether you'll keep climbing when the summit disappears into clouds. There will be seasons when everything feels like it's working against you, when every door seems to close before you reach it, when effort feels wasted and momentum seems lost. That is where resilience begins. In the valley, in the silence, in the tension between where you are and where you want to be. The question is, will you stay standing in that space long enough to see what's possible? Resilience is the fuel that keeps the fire alive when the world turns cold. It's what allows you to rise from disappointment, not with bitterness, but with new resolve. It's what teaches you that success is never owned. It's leased. And rent is due every single day. The ones who win are not the ones who had the smoothest path, but the ones who refuse to let the rough road stop their forward motion. You don't become resilient by avoiding struggle. You become resilient by meeting struggle head on, by embracing the uncomfortable, by finding strength in uncertainty. It's built in the moments when you could have quit and no one would have blamed you, but you didn't. It's built when you keep fighting for your vision, even when your results don't yet reflect your efforts. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment becomes a layer of armor that prepares you for what's next. Resilience builds winners because it teaches you how to endure, how to adapt, and how to rise, not once, but every time you're knocked down. It transforms adversity into advantage and pressure into power. It doesn't just help you survive, it teaches you how to thrive under weight, to lead through struggle, to become something unshakable. Too many people walk through life chained to their past, haunted by old choices, trapped in memories of who they used to be, convinced that their yesterday has already written the conclusion to their story. But here's the truth: in your past is a chapter, not the conclusion. It is part of your story, not the whole of it. Your past doesn't define your finish unless you allow it to. People will try to remind you of where you've been. They'll reduce you to your lowest moment, your biggest mistake, your most painful failure. Not because that's all you are, but because that's all they choose to see. But they don't get to write your future. They don't carry your vision. They don't feel your fight. Your value isn't found in what happened before. It's found in what you choose to do now, in this moment, with this breath. There's a reason the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. Because where you're going is far more important than where you've been. You can't drive forward if you keep looking back. You can't grow if you keep reliving the same pain, the same regret, the same failure. What happened in your past, whether it was something you did or something done to you, does not have to dictate your next step. It may explain how you got here, but it does not determine where you go from here. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet don't have spotless records. They have scars. They carry history. They've walked through betrayal, a disappointment, poverty, broken homes, broken dreams, and broken hearts. But they refused to let those things become their identity. They didn't pretend it never happened. They simply decided it wouldn't have the final word. They chose to rewrite the narrative, to use their pain not as a prison, but as a platform. You don't have to be proud of every part of your past. You don't have to justify the wrong turns or minimize the damage. Growth doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty, ownership, courage. It requires the decision to stop letting yesterday steal today. You are not the same person who made that mistake, believed that lie, stayed in that situation, walked away too soon, or held on too long. You have changed. You are still changing. The beauty of life is that it allows reinvention. Every day, you get to decide again who you want to be. You get to interrupt patterns. You get to choose new responses. You get to move from reaction to creation, from survival to strength, from shame to freedom. The past may visit, but it no longer has the authority to govern your next move. You don't need anyone's permission to rise above it. You don't need the world to forget what happened. You just need to forgive yourself for carrying it so long. It doesn't matter if people doubt your transformation. They might still see the old version of you. Let them. That's their vision problem, not your responsibility. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to keep evolving, to keep healing, to keep building a life that reflects who you are becoming, not who you were. And when the old thoughts creep in, when the weight of the past tries to pull you backward, remind yourself, you've already walked through the fire. What's behind you cannot hurt you unless you drag it with you. Freedom begins when you stop arguing for your limitations. When you stop telling yourself that because you failed before, you'll fail again. That because you were rejected once, you'll never be chosen. That because you struggled before, you're not worthy of ease, of peace, of joy. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to grow beyond the expectations others placed on you when they only knew a fraction of your truth. The past is not a life sentence. It is a lesson, a stepping stone, a place you've been, not a place you have to stay. You are not your worst day. You are not your biggest regret. You are not the person they gave up on, the one who didn't know better, the one who stayed silent, the one who broke down, the one who almost gave up. There comes a point in every journey where the dream starts to feel distant. Maybe it used to burn bright inside you, clear and loud, driving every step you took. But then life got heavy. Time passed. Reality hit hard. You faced delays, detours, disappointments. And somewhere in the middle of surviving, striving, and showing up every day, that dream got quieter. Maybe you stopped talking about it. Maybe you told yourself you were being unrealistic. Maybe you started calling it just a phase, something that belonged to a younger version of you. But no matter how deeply you buried it, no matter how long it's been silent, the truth is, the dream is still alive. It might not look the way it once did. It might have evolved. You may have changed, matured, grown through experiences that forced you to see the world differently. But deep within that vision, that longing, that fire, it never died. It simply waited for you to remember. The dream didn't give up on you. You gave up talking to it. You stopped feeding it. But it's still there, pulsing in the background of your thoughts, echoing in quiet moments when no one is watching, showing up in flashes of, what if? And maybe I still could. Dreams are persistent like that. They don't need perfect timing. They don't need ideal circumstances. They just need a crack in the wall you build around yourself. A moment of belief. A breath of courage. They just need you to stop dismissing them. Because they're not silly. They're not naive. They are the truest reflection of what your heart came here to do. And the world may have tried to crush them. It may have told you to be practical, to stop reaching, to settle for something smaller. But practicality doesn't ignite the soul. Playing small doesn't build legacies. And dreams don't die from failure. They die from neglect. You may be tired. You may have a long list of reasons why it's too late. Responsibilities, regret, fear of failing again. But let's be honest, if letting go of the dream was going to bring you peace, it would have done so by now. If burying it was the answer, you wouldn't still feel that pull, that tension, that you're not too old, you're not too far behind, you're not disqualified, you're just human. And humans were made to chase meaning, to pursue purpose, to give themselves to something bigger than routine and survival. The dream doesn't demand you be fearless. It only asks that you be willing. Willing to try. Willing to step out when there's no guarantee. Willing to begin again. Willing to believe that maybe, just maybe, there's more waiting for you. And the truth is, the moment you breathe life back into it, you begin to shift. You start to remember who you were before you got talked out of it. You start to feel again. Create, reach again. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's you getting back in touch with something real. You don't need everyone to believe in it. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need the perfect strategy. You need a decision, a choice to stop ignoring what you know has always been yours. The dream might be inconvenient. It might cost you time, effort, pride, comfort, but the cost of not pursuing it, that's a different kind of pain. That's the slow erosion of self, the quiet grief of potential unfulfilled. That's the kind of regret that lingers. You owe it to yourself to remember what made you feel alive. You owe it to your younger self, the one who dared to imagine without limits. And you owe it to your future self, who is still waiting to see what happens when you stop running from the vision and start rising toward it. The dream is not a fantasy. It's a message, a signal, a compass pointing toward the life you're meant to build. And no matter how far you've strayed, it's still beating beneath the surface. Waiting for you to answer it to victory doesn't happen in a moment. It isn't delivered in an instant. It's not a prize handed out for potential or good intentions. Victory is earned through persistence, through the relentless decision to keep going even when everything in you wants to stop. It's not about being the fastest or the strongest. It's about being the one who refuses to quit, the one who keeps showing up again and again long after others have walked away. There is something unshakable about a person who has made up their mind not to give up. That kind of resolve cannot be faked. It's not loud or flashy. It's quiet, steady, and unbreakable. It's forged in silence, in early mornings and late nights, in the hours when no one is watching and the applause is nowhere to be found. Persistence isn't always exciting. It doesn't always feel heroic. Sometimes it feels like dragging yourself through mud, inch by inch, breath by breath, refusing to let the weight of disappointment bury you. Every victory you've ever admired in someone else came with persistence behind the scenes. You might see the celebration, the headlines, the praise, but you didn't see the nights they questioned if it was worth it. You didn't see the rejections, the setbacks, the failures they had to swallow and get back up from. The truth is, the road to victory is paved with moments that feel like defeat. The difference is, those who win don't stop walking when the path gets hard. They just take another step. Persistence means staying in the fight. Even when progress feels invisible, it means continuing to show up even when the results aren't immediate. It's the willingness to keep trying, keep learning, keep adjusting. It's not stubbornness. It's faith in motion. It's belief with its sleeves rolled up. And over time, it becomes a force that can't be ignored. Because effort, repeated with consistency, compounds. Every drop of effort adds up. Every attempt gets you closer. Every no you endure is one step closer to yes. That changes everything. The people who persist are not blind to reality. They see the obstacles. They feel the pressure. But they've decided that no circumstance will dictate their limits. They've learned that pain is part of the process. That failure is just feedback. That progress is rarely linear. They don't need certainty to take action. They don't need approval to stay committed. They just need the reason they started. And they hold on to that reason like a lifeline when everything else tries to pull them under. Persistence teaches you patience. It sharpens your focus. It stretches your capacity. It's what keeps the dream alive when the world tries to crush it. There will be days when motivation disappears, when inspiration runs dry, when all you have is discipline. And that's when persistence becomes your power. When you show up without feeling ready. When you continue, not because it's easy, but because you've made a decision about who you are and what you're willing to fight for. There's nothing glamorous about pushing through resistance. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. But every time you push through, you're proving to yourself that you are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You're shaping your future in the fire of your persistence. That grit becomes part of your identity. That endurance becomes your edge. Because when others give up, you keep going. When others settle, you still believe. When others break, you bend, adapt, and move forward. Victory never belongs to the one who quits halfway. It doesn't belong to the one who only shows up when it feels good. It belongs to the one who keeps choosing the path, keeps doing the work, keeps rising after every fall. It belongs to the one who decides, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times they have to start over, that they will not stop until the finish line is behind them. Persistence is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about the next step, and then the next one after that, until the breakthrough comes through the weight of consistency and the power of refusal to surrender. You've been told the odds. You've felt the weight of failure, tasted the bitterness of setbacks, and questioned whether you've got what it takes. But if you're still here, breathing, standing, reaching, then understand this, it's not over. Not even close. Every fall was forming you. Every doubt was stretching you. Every delay was preparing you. You were never meant to be defined by your past. You were meant to rise from it. You were never meant to quit at the edge of exhaustion. You were meant to dig deeper. And that dream, the one that keeps whispering in the silence, still belongs to you. It's alive because you are. Victory doesn't show up for the most talented or the most privileged. It shows up for the one who refuses to stay down. The one who keeps going when the fire dims, who believes when belief is the only thing left, who pushes when nothing seems to be moving. That's who wins. That's who breaks through. So wherever you are on your journey, broken, tired, starting over, starting late, know this: your story is still unfolding. Your power is still building. Your victory is still becoming. And no matter you've faced, no matter what you've lost, no matter how far you still have to gog, it's not over until you win.